Sometimes I have a big mouth when I see something that I don't like.
Comedy fam, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into the latest rumors and insider details about a potential Cars 4. While Disney and Pixar haven't made any official announcements yet, speculation is revving up among fans and insiders alike. Let's explore what Cars 4 could be about if it comes to life. After the intro, we will talk about rumors and details about Cars 4. Years ago, comedy fam, the Cars franchise was really successful for Pixar, but what happened to this franchise since then? Since the Cars 3 release, fans assumed that Cars 4 won't happen due to the poor performance at the box office in Cars 3. That was the lowest of the three films about Lightning McQueen and his huge journey. So should we start to worry? We're gonna talk about it in a few seconds, comedy fam. Before we start, like and subscribe. Thank you. Cars 3 showed us a story that is about Lightning McQueen, who gets lost in the desert town of Radiator Springs. On the way to the race, he was forced to do community service to help fix the road problem in Radiator Springs. But then he fell in love with the small town of Radiator Springs, and many adventures happened throughout his life and career. And even though Cars 3 received an incredible amount of good reviews, it still didn't make as much as Cars 2 did. In 2011, Cars 2 grossed over $520 million in 2011, but Cars 3 got a whopping $380 million compared to Cars 2, so yeah, not as great as we thought. And the numbers of people interest in the franchise dropped significantly in the past few years. Why? Was because of Paul Newman died in 2008, and they never addressed what happened to Doc Hudson in the Cars 2 or even Cars 3, and they left him, and fans were quite upset about that. Not the biggest mistake I've ever seen, but it still was not a good decision, especially after Paul Newman died in 2008. But Cars 3 influenced the future of the franchise, and there's no official announcement or anything about Cars 4 yet to come, or even to release in the future even, I'd say, because it's not in Pixar's plans even now. So they have yet to release Zootopia 2 Elio and Lilo and Stitch live action soon enough. And Pixar said they was to focus more on developing original projects, but it still doesn't mean a fourth movie won't exactly never happen. So we'll explain everything in few seconds, comedy fam. In 2017, the producers had a talk about what would happen to the Cars franchise. They seemed excited about a fourth movie, except if it's a good movie to invest in, which I 100% agree that a fourth movie is better than no fourth movie. Owen Wilson also had a talk about a fourth movie, surprisingly, but also he mentioned that Cars 4 has a possibility of a future movie or return, like a reinvention of the racing series. Maybe some sort of thriller, who knows? But it seems like it's not beyond excitement, because it's been a few years already since they all had a talk about it. However, the Cars franchise has huge number of merchandise on their hands, and also it sells incredibly well, and the Cars series ranks high. Here's a fact, comedy fam. In 2012, Cars ranked an enormous amount of money, around $1.5 billion, but it is enough to make the studio maybe make another film. So remember, Cruz Ramirez maybe would take McQueen's place in the future film. Who knows, as we already know McQueen is Cruz's mentor, but the director said he has no plans for Cars 4 at the moment, but he still thinks anything is possible. Toy Story is beloved around many people around the world, but the movie Lightyear from 2022 was a huge disappointment and a huge flop in the box office for sure, comedy fam. Everyone thought it would help sell tickets more and more, but unfortunately that's not the case at all. There's another question in mind: is the era of sequels over for Pixar? And Cars performed mighty well, so there might a possibility for another Cars movie. I think it's extremely difficult to predict of Pixar or even the Cars franchise Let's analyze projects coming out in 2025. Well, we have Lilo and Stitch live action, we have Zootopia 2, and the new movie called Elio from Pixar. The most interesting one is Snow White live action coming March 21st in theaters, so whether Cars 4 get made or not, I do not think it's impossible for a fourth Cars film to arrive, and audiences would probably have a blast and plenty to look forward to. The Cars on the Road series premiered on September 8, 2022, and it gave Pixar fans hope that there will be another Cars film. However, the studio had been silent and hasn't even talked about it since.
Those ancient joints! First, the wheels! And forward, and right!
Thinks anything is possible. Toy Story is beloved around many people around the world, but the movie Lightyear from 2022 was a huge disappointment and a huge flop in the box office for sure. Comedy fam, everyone thought it would help sell tickets more and more, but unfortunately that's not the case at all. There's another question in mind: is the era of sequels over for Pixar? And Cars performed mighty well, so there might a possibility for another Cars movie. I think it's extremely difficult to predict of Pixar or even the Cars franchise. Let's analyze projects coming out in 2025. Well, we have Lilo and Stitch live action, we have Zootopia 2, and the new movie called Elio from Pixar. The most interesting one is Snow White live action coming March 21st in theaters, so whether Cars 4 get made or not, I do not think it's impossible for a fourth Cars film to arrive, and audiences would probably have a blast and plenty to look forward to. The Cars on the Road series premiered on September 8, 2022, and it gave Pixar fans hope that there will be another Cars film. However, the studio had been silent and hasn't even talked about it since 2023, so anyone watching this, don't get your hopes up. And since the Owen Wilson thing in 2017, we know the news might not be good or pleasant enough, but we can still see if there's going to be a fourth film coming soon or coming around. There's always a chance it might come before our eyes. So do you think Cars 4 will eventually happen? Tell me in comments below. If you have any questions, comedy fam, feel free to tell me in comments below. Thank you, and like this video. Thanks for watching. We will eventually see you in another episode, comedy fam. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like this video for more content. See you soon, guys.